Good morning and welcome to Business Breakfast in Bedhead. I'm so excited to talk to you about the assumptions that we make in our lives and businesses that can get us into trouble sometimes, and not trouble with other people, but trouble with ourselves, how we can actually self-sabotage. And oh my goodness, if you're watching this live, you're seeing the cutest little alfalfa hair happening right now. But I'm really excited to be going live with you guys this morning here on Instagram. And I also have us going live in some of my Facebook groups. And I just want to let you guys know that this is a safe space where we can show up real, raw, honest, and vulnerable together. It's so important for me to cultivate a judgment-free zone as we get together. So as you're popping on, we're going to be getting into this hot topic of the assumptions we make. And if you guys have ever heard it before, it's actually my grade 8 science teacher that said, when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And that's how you spell assume. And so we're going to dive deep into this because a lot of us highly sensitive people actually make a lot of assumptions that we're not even aware of. And it actually sabotages our lives and our businesses and our relationships. So I'm ready to dive into it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm so excited that you're here. If you didn't know, these lives on Instagram actually go over onto my podcast, the Anxious Creative Podcast. So if you haven't subscribed and tuned into the Anxious Creative Podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you go find it. So while you're here with me right now, go ahead and say hello and hi. Put your name, where you're tuning in from, in the comments. I want to make sure I'm not talking at you on a screen. I want to talk with you this morning because it's important for us to have a conversation. You actually get more out of it when you participate. It's like neurologically proven that when you participate in a chat, that you actually get more out of something, as well as I'm sitting here in my living room talking to my phone and a camera. I want to make sure that I'm actually having a conversation. So put your name, where you're tuning in from. Put new if this is your first time coming to my live, so that I can say a special welcome and you can get to know each other. And then the next thing I want to ask as we cultivate this conversation this morning is that, I don't know if you guys can hear that, I'm still getting construction done on my house and it's so freaking frustrating. Hi from Morocco, from Central California, Portland, Oregon. I love it. The next thing I want to cultivate is that this is a judgment-free zone. And so if we can be kind, compassionate, and gracious for each other, being on different parts of our journey, I want to ask you guys to just put a yes in the comments right now, that you just put a yes saying that you commit to this being a judgment-free zone where we can show up real, raw, honest, and vulnerable together, knowing that we're all on different parts of our journey, that we're learning different things at different times. And there's no shame at having an aha moment that you wish you would have had a year ago. So we got someone from LA, from Trinidad and Tobago. I love it. Hi from Illinois. I love that we have people from all over the world here with us. So let's get into assumptions. And I want to share a story with you guys first. So the first time I was making a really big leap in my business, and I had started to calculate the money I needed to make in order to pay the bills and make the life I needed to, and a fair amount. And I realized I was grossly undercharging, and my colors needed to start being higher. And I remember having a consultation with a client this one day, and going through everything, her expectations, what she was wanting to achieve, what she was wanting to create. And I let her know at the end, okay, in order to get these results today for your hair, the time, the amount of product, all that, it's going to be over $500. And I can't remember. I think I gave her like a range, because that's what I teach inside of my program, Rock Your Consultation, which, exciting news, you guys, Rock Your Consultation. I've been hinting at this for a long time, that I wanted to rename it, because it's more than just consultations. It's more about policies. Its new name is coming out soon. I actually shared with some of my students yesterday, and it's so freaking good. So it's getting a huge upgrade. If you want to get in on policies, procedures, how to follow through, definitely send me a DM or go check out donbradley.com. Snag Rock Your Consultation now before it gets a major upgrade. Anyway, I want to share with you guys this story. So my client I had was, I had the consultation with her. I went really thorough with it. And then I was like, hey, so your hair is going to be over $500 today. It's going to be between $500 and $550. And she was totally okay with it. And I was like, I was so nervous, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is the first time that I was charging over $500 for something. And it was making me so nervous. And I was glad that I had the conversation ahead of time to make sure that she was on board with it. Hi, Erin. Hi, Mel. Hi, Gladys. And so we had the conversation. I did her hair. It turned out so bomb. And then I was going to charge her, and I was so freaking nervous, right? Because I was like, okay, I have to, she's going to be charging, I'm going to charge her over $500. And it was the first time I was going to charge over $500. And I was so nervous. I was scared she was going to be mad at me, and I was scared that she was going to be upset, even though she had agreed to it. And so when I handed her the debit machine and she looked at the total, she went, wow, that's more than I've ever paid for my hair in my life. And immediately, because I was expecting a negative reaction, I was ready to be like, but you already agreed to it. And I wanted to jump in. And I remember I just learned to slow down and not react, but respond. And I remember the moment having like my drink handy, and I was like, hey, Dawn, just slow down and don't react. So the knee-jerk reaction in those like split 2 seconds was like I wanted to jump in and let her know that she'd already agreed to pay that much and kind of be like on the defense. And then at the same time, I wanted to emotionally discount. It was like these two dual things going on inside of me that I was like, because I heard her say like, wow, I've never paid this much for my hair before. And I was like, you knew. And so I decided to take a sip of my drink first and slow down. And then she responded, but I've never loved my hair this much before. And in that moment, one, I felt so embarrassed. I was like, oh my gosh, I assumed what she had said was on the negative. And our brains are actually wired for negative bias. It's a fascinating thing. And so I realized in that moment that my client was just making a statement. Wow, I've never paid this much for my hair before in my life. But because I was feeling insecure, I was hearing it as something that she was attacking me for. And it was a huge moment for me to go, oh shit, I made an assumption based on my insecurity. And that's the thing is we all still do it. And so I don't want you guys to feel embarrassed or shamed about this, but recognize in these moments sometimes that we assign negativity to things with clients when we don't even realize it. Sometimes I get a lot of people sending me screenshots from their clients being like, how do I reply to this? And I go, oh, interesting. Like, how are you receiving this? How are you reading this? And a lot of times when we're feeling insecure or when we're feeling, we're moving into a new area, we read things with a different way. And so I wanted to share that story with you guys this morning because it was a huge aha moment when I went, oh my gosh, I almost emotionally discounted that client. And I almost slightly bit her head off. And I had these two like dual reactions that I didn't know which to go with. Like, oh, well, you already said you would pay for it. And I also want to be like, oh, well, it's okay. It's fine. Like I don't, because I felt like a fraud charging that much. I felt like, oh my gosh, maybe she misunderstood me when I told her the price quote ahead of time. And I totally backtracked on myself and because my self-esteem and my self-worth weren't there. I'm guilty, says Jessica. Yeah. So good, says Burgundy. And so I want you guys to know that if you are all of a sudden having this awareness, sometimes it's really hard. I'm just saying hello to everyone. Sometimes it's really hard when we create these awarenesses. We can be hard on ourselves. I want you to have so much grace for yourself. We're all humans on this learning journey. And there's nothing to be embarrassed or ashamed about. It's human nature. The negative bias that we have is actually ingrained instinctually into us from like caveman times when we had to protect ourselves from saber-toothed tigers, right? Like if danger's present, we need to protect ourselves. So know that it is natural and normal to do these things, but to take that second and to really start to learn. I know for me, when I get anxious and here's the thing, I haven't conquered anxiety. I want you guys to know that. I haven't conquered stress. I've learned how to recognize the signs of it quicker and earlier so that I can control it better. And it's really hard. And so when I get taken by surprise by something, or when I haven't slept well, when I haven't taken care of myself well, I'm more susceptible to things. And I will feel this like jolt of this like electricity bolts through my body. And I kind of feel this like shock, and I can kind of get into this whole phase and I can spiral. And I need to remember to kind of put my feet on the ground and take some deep breaths and ask myself, am I making any assumptions? Am I drawing any conclusions, especially when it comes to our clients, right? We don't want to assume anything. And yet if we are feeling insecure, or if we're feeling frustrated or whatever, or if you're feeling sad, or if you're feeling on the defense, or if you're feeling scared, especially like doing a price increase, right? When you're doing a price increase and you send out something, sometimes we send it out in a way that we actually are defensive because we're trying to protect ourselves. And when we send something defensive, just so you know, my prices are going up. I don't think any of you guys are like that, but sometimes that happens. Hi, Shakira. Oh my gosh, it's so good to see you on here. Better at it, but I still slip into the emo discounting. Hey, Elka, I love that you guys are on here. Elkie, sorry. So I just want you guys to know that, I totally lost my train of thought, but that when we come at things aggressively or defensively, trying to protect ourselves, we actually elicit a combative response. But when we go at things understanding and compassionately, we can generally elicit and control the response. But a lot of times we can misunderstand or misinterpret things based on if we're feeling insecure. So if you're doing a big price increase and you're nervous about how your clients are going to react and you're scared they're going to get mad at you, if any emails come in from them, you might read them as them being mad at you with like a mean, negative tone to it, when really it's not. Or it could be. There's no way to know. And that's why like texting and emails are so hard, and DMs in our industry, because I see a lot of people being like, well, like, look what this client said back. And when I read it, I'm like, yeah, what did they say? Because I'm looking at it from a very unbiased position. And so removing yourself from these moments, especially when dealing with our clients and dealing with things like price increases or enforcing your policies or anything like that, I want you to try to pull yourself back and try to pull yourself out emotionally, which is so hard. So hard. We're emotional beings. We care deeply. And so I want you guys to understand, how many of you guys are like highly emotional, highly sensitive person? I know how this feels. And so trying to go, am I making an assumptions? Could I perceive this a different way? Like with my client, when I charged her over $500 and she said, wow, I've never paid this much for my hair before, period. And the way I heard it, and I think I'm going to make a post out of this and I'm going to like share that bit and then share like, but I've never loved my hair this much. Now, how do you read it? And really shine a light on how we fill in the blanks. Because fun fact, you guys, here's another one about assumptions is and this is what has inspired this live this morning, is that I posted a reel a few weeks ago saying I had a family member fatally ill in the hospital and I had to cancel some appointments. This is the email that I got from my client. How would you respond? That's all it said. I don't say anything about the client. In the caption, I share my emotions at the time. I felt upset. I felt angry. I felt hurt. I felt I wanted to cash it all in, but I say nothing about the client. But the amount of people that assume that I'm client shaming is fascinating. I actually have no issue with the client's email. I had an emotional reaction to it. It's an email from 2010 also. And I've gotten a lot of shade about sharing emails, people being like, I can't believe that you would come and share your client's email online. And I'm like, one, do you know if I had consent? Like the assumptions that people think I'm blasting someone without their consent or things like that. We need to learn to get curious in things. And so I'm not client shaming. I'm sharing a factual, hey Scott, I'm sharing a factual experience that happened. And I share my emotions that I was upset, I was hurt, I was frustrated, and people are filling in the blanks that I'm client shaming or that I hate this client, that or I was upset at them. And at the time, I placed up my frustration on my client, absolutely. But when I look at it now, 13 years later, my client had no issue. She was asking, hey, like she made a couple assumptions that I would go in on my day off, but I had the power to say no. And so a lot of times when we get asked things from our clients, a lot of times when our clients are like, hey, could you do my hair this day? We're like, oh, I can't believe, how dare they? What? Who would ask me to do this? But you have the power to say no. Why do you stop as a control freak? Why do you still keep deferring the control and the responsibility to someone else? Because it's so much easier to be mad and upset at someone else than realize that you're the one in control. Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. It's so hard to hear. I love that. Learn to get curious. Yeah. Especially when we get triggered or when we have an emotional reaction, are we filling any blanks? Right? With that post, I think it's so fascinating. I said, I had a family member in the hospital. I had to cancel appointments. This is an email I got. How would you reply? And my caption just stated my emotions. I say nothing about the client. I make no opinion about what I think about the email. And yet people are assuming that I'm throwing shade at my client. It's really fascinating. And so and you can see like the difference there's like over 1,000 comments on that post. It's insane. And I actually had to stop because I was getting my feelings hurt by people being mean in the comments. And so I want to be able to equip you guys with this morning, is to learn to, am I making any assumptions? Am I drawing conclusions based on, is there client shaming happening online? Absolutely. Is there, places where we need to have safe places where we can vent too. And we need to be able to share our emotions and understand that sharing how we feel is not attached to the intent in which something was delivered. A client can have well-meaning intent and you can get your feelings hurt. Intent versus impact is a really, really important thing that I've learned. And one of the biggest things that I want to be able to share with you guys is that you can feel hurt and it doesn't mean they intended to hurt you. It doesn't mean your feelings are invalid either. Someone can have hi Steph, someone can have the best of intentions. And if you're in a stressed out place, if you haven't slept well, you're not taking good care of yourself, or you're feeling insecure, you can read it. I have a whole post about how a client let me know that she felt I had shamed her for her fine hair. And it spiraled me into anxiety because I was like, the last thing I would ever want someone to feel is shame over their hair. But the fact that she felt shamed was real. And so my intent was not to shame her, and I apologized for it, but her feelings were valid. And so I want you guys to be able to stop shaming yourself. Oh, Lewis is joining me. Hi, buddy. I want you guys to stop shaming yourself for having emotions. You're an emotional being, you're a human, and you're allowed to feel How we choose to feel our feelings and if we react on them or respond to them is a really important thing. Are you guys tracking with me? Stylists definitely need a safe space. Absolutely. And that's where, I mean, I get a lot of people being like, I'd fire you as my hairstylist. And like, they're all private accounts. I think that like, I got into like the troll algorithm for a little bit. It's super fascinating. But like I said, I say it's fascinating and I put on this exterior of like, ha ha ha. But really, I'm like over here being like, I can't look at my comments. They hurt my feelings so much. Right. So I actually can't look at it because people are mean. And whether their intent is to be mean or not, the impact it has on me hurts. And so I want you guys to be able to stop shaming yourself for having emotions, but stop acting on your emotions right away. Allow yourself to have the feelings. Like I shared with that client, kind of make it the email, the way you read it. It's like, I told my mom you'd come in on Friday. Let me know if that's okay. That's it. So there's actually nothing wrong. But I felt like there was an expectation and an obligation. I was like, how dare she just volunteer her mom to come in on Friday? Now, there's context left out because that's not the point of the post. And a lot of people in the comments are like, well, obviously there's stuff missing. And I'm like, it's not, the point of it was to share. And it was kind of an experiment that I did to see how people react to it and how much people assume. We all assume. And here's the thing, I don't want you to think that you can ever go through life without ever assuming again, but start to be aware of the places that you fill in the blanks. Like with that client, I've never paid this much for my hair before. I thought she was pissed. I was ready to go in for the like, well, you already said you'd pay it, da 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 da. And then when she's like, but I never loved my hair this much, I realized she was just making a statement. That's all. But because I was feeling insecure at the time, I received it and understood it a different way. And I'm so glad that I had just recently learned when you feel like this like jump to like react, to slow down and have like a cup of coffee or a glass of water nearby, or just allow yourself to take one full deep breath in your nose and out before it lets your brain, especially us anxious people, it lets your brain catch up to what's actually going on around you. And so I just want to open it up right now before this. Oh, Scott, 100% radical responsibility. I love yeah, in authentically sharing. It honors feelings being felt. This is so good, sister. Thanks, Scott. Oh my gosh, if you guys don't follow Journey of a Man yet, go follow my friend Scott. He's amazing and he talks a lot about emotional intelligence. And I mean, man, if you guys like this live, you will definitely love everything that Scott has to offer. He is an amazing person. We're in a leadership container together and he's brilliant. Thanks for that comment, Scott. To be secure all the time. I know, wouldn't that be nice? Life lesson right there. Yes, Steph. So I'm curious if you guys, there's a little question box down here. You can tap that question box. You can put a question up that way. I can bring it up here, but I just want to open it up for any situations or scenarios or even emotions that you might be having that you want to have my insight on. I'm here. I come live here every weekday morning to share with you guys because I love these. Now, obviously I have coaching programs and templates and different programs starting at $37 all the way. I have free education for you. And then $37 is the smallest investment you can make to my client building bundle on how to build your clientele in under 12 weeks. And then I have my Rock Your Business signature program, which you get weekly coaching with me. But I love being able to come here live each and every morning to share with you guys completely for free to sow into your life, because I have to focus on the things that bring me love and joy. And I have so much fun doing these. And if you guys, like, if you didn't hear already, if you miss any of these or you don't get the live, they go onto my podcast, The Anxious Creative Podcast. So if you ever miss any of these lives, you can go binge them over on the podcast. Talking about people that are in my leadership container right now, I am drinking Eon's mushroom coffee from my friend Alex, and I just started getting it and I love it. Oh my gosh. I thought mushrooms were only psychedelics. I didn't know. And they're not. And he also sent me some gummies that are for calm and focus, and then also sleep ones. And you guys know that I was diagnosed with ADHD 2 years ago, and I actually went on medication for it, and it changed my world. But then I started to realize I didn't like how this felt. So right now I'm currently weaning myself off my medication, and the Eons mushroom coffee and the gummies are making it really, really easy. And I don't say that lightly. Obviously, I'm not a doctor and I can't prescribe things for you guys, but you should definitely check out the Eons products. Okay. So I hope that's helped you guys out this morning. Has this been helpful? This is what I want to end this with is, has this been helpful? Yes or no in the comments. And what's one thing, if it has, what's one thing you're walking away from this live today that's impacted you and helped you out? We'll let you guys know I got hair in my mouth. I think my dog's hair when Lewis came, because I want these lives to be beneficial. And the one thing that I do ask is, if you get something out of these lives, share it with someone that you think would get something out of it as well. I want to, you guys, I'm on a mission, and I was sharing this yesterday. It makes me feel uncomfortable because sometimes I go, who am I to lead? But I'm on a mission to band us together, to link arm in arm together and red rover the shit out of our industry, to show the world that we are professionals and that we can be respected. But the way we have to do that is from the inside out. And we have to start banding together, being less catty and competitive and more collaborative, full of grace and understanding, and lift each other up. So Jessica T. Hardman says, don't assume, don't react in a negative mindset. Yeah. Breathe and take a second. Silence is uncomfortable. Elka. Oh, I forgot. Now I'm overthinking how to pronounce your name. Elka or Elke? I know we had this all in 2020, and now I'm getting in my head about it. Awesome. Well, I love that those are your takeaways. Quick announcement before I go, you guys, I'm having a spring sale on my merch. If you didn't see, I have my stickers here. It's Will Work for Nugs, Not Your Average Business Owner, Big Deal Doing Hard Things. It's a collaboration with my friend Leanne from Little May. You can get all three for $10 and get free shipping all over the world. Just use free shipping coupon code. I also have my mirror decals. I'm a big deal and I can do hard things. They go on your mirror, just the white part, and you are more, not Elka. Okay, cool. You already are more than enough. These look so cute on your salon mirrors or at home in your bathroom. I also have some of these hoodies left. So free shipping worldwide. Go to donbradley.com, put free shipping in. I'm so excited to have this spring sale. We're doing this sale, I think, until the 31st of March, but don't miss out because I have limited quantities, you guys. This is a big blowout sale. I'm so freaking excited. And as always, I have retreats coming up. I have in-home retreats. 10 people max are able to come. Just go to donbradley.com/retreat. You can go read up about it more. You can apply. You can DM me. I'll answer any questions. I just want you to know that I have things here to support you guys, tons of free education, and I have a lot of cool things coming up soon. So make sure you stay tuned. Set an alarm. I always go live between 8 and 8:30. It was kind of late this morning because I got a slow start to the morning. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And DM me when you have your next moment where you're like, oh my gosh, I totally assumed my client was going to be mad at me, or when you have an aha. My goal, my hope, and the energy I'm putting out to you today is that you have a moment today to practice what you've learned. And sometimes that's hard because when we learn new things, it's not like those obstacles go out of the way. We get moments where we get to practice the thing we learned. So it's so good to see some of you guys that I haven't seen in a long time. It's wonderful to have you back. I just want you to know that I love you, I care for you, and I'm wishing you all the best. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow. Love you guys. Till then, stay weird. Bye. Bye.